You're listening to the AFTERBUZZ TV Network, now the largest new media platform on the web, and your #1 source for after-show entertainment.
Very good, Dean Johnson.
From the AFTERBUZZ Studios in Los Angeles, California, presented by Maria Menounos and streaming live thanks to Akamai Technologies, this is AFTERBUZZ TV's Extant After Show. We'll break down tonight's episode and get you all the latest news and gossip. And now, another post-game wrap-up show for your favorite TV show. It's AFTERBUZZ TV's Extant After Show.
Hear it, the sci-fi, the moody, you know, the moody music. We really don't have a main theme song to Extant, so every single week we are going to choose some popular sci-fi theme song, hopefully that we know, or at least our fans know, or at least we'll maybe be creative and just come up with some kind of moody sci-fi music. Anyway, everyone, how's it all going? Happy Wednesday. My name is Monis Rose, and to the left of me are the inspiring and compelling Adrian Snow. Whoa, and Tauri Miller.
Yes. Best intro ever.
Right?
Wow. Wow. Yes,
man.
that is
terrifying.
You know, but hey, this is for a powerful show, for a big mega show, we need some mega blockbuster music, you know?
Yes.
Oh yes, absolutely.
Definitely.
Sets it off right, sets a great show off right. So anyway, how you all feeling today, guys?
Good.
Feeling
Good.
Oh, yeah.
And how do you feel after tonight's episode, Extinct, episode 2 on Extant? Yeah, it's kind of weird there, but anyway.
Well, do you know extant means to exist, and extinct means to no longer exist? I saw that on our review of Extant.
Oh.
Okay.
EW.
Anyway.
And so I was like, oh, okay, look at that. So it's kind of, I see what they're doing there.
Yeah.
Yeah. So overall, before we really get into the meat and potatoes of this episode, what did y'all think of tonight's episode? Did they answer any questions from last week? Did they not? Did, you know, obviously there are so many more questions that were stated. What did you guys think?
I thought they answered a lot of questions about Krieger. So, and that's kind of what I expected. They kind of gave us his entire story in the episode, which was nice to see. And they answered a few other questions, but that was like a main question I had, and they answered all of it pretty much in this episode. They resolved like a lot of things very quickly.
Yeah.
So it was a good episode. Yeah.
What about you, Tari?
I liked it. I liked the very suspenseful feel to it. And all the answers kind of blew all of my theories out of the water. Because I was like, oh man, what if everyone's a robot and what if this happens? But it's like, no, here's exactly what's going on.
Yeah.
And it's not that.
Yeah.
You're right. You're right. You know, this episode, it was written, you know, I don't know if it was like there was a lot of sci-fi, there was a little bit of horror, there was not really adventure, but I noticed that this episode was written by Leslie Bowen, and he wrote on the sci-fi series, Steven Spielberg's sci-fi series Taken. He also did, you know, A Nightmare on Elm Street. He also did some Dante's Peak. So he was all over, you know, and I think that writing this episode, it was a really good one. And you're right, it answered a lot of questions, and I like that. I like that. And going along with what you said, Adrian, yeah, the Krieger storyline, I found solace in that. I found solace in that whole storyline. With you, Tari, I want to say that I was right. Like, this episode was all about Molly, and I feel, yes, she was the A story, she was the B story, and then John and everyone else was just pushed to the C. So I feel I want to take the credit on my predictions for that. I'm just saying.
I mean, I'm taking credit on my prediction as well, then. That's,
fine. All right,
it'll all be about Krieger, I'm just saying.
Awesome. Touche. Touche. Anyway, how about we get in this episode, shall we? So, since it was pretty much all about Molly, we start the episode off with her making breakfast, waking up in her Ethan Allen's type house, and
It's so beautiful.
it is, but it's very plain. It's very beige. You know,
Oh,
she
yeah.
always wears beige, and everything is beige. Everything is very plain. There's really
It's called earthy. Earthy.
rustic,
Rustic,
earthy,
earthy.
Ethan Allen.
I like it.
You're right. You're
You
right.
know.
Okay.
I'm an
Okay.
old lady.
No, you're not that old. It's okay. So she makes breakfast, plans her day with talks with John about, the new day, and pretty much, and, she, her day is filled with spending time with Ethan, getting to know more with him and bonding with him. So anyway, we'll jump a few minutes. So, she spends some time with Ethan. We'll get to that in a moment. But really, in the back of her mind, she really wants to solve this pregnancy thing. She really wants to solve this, how is she going to hide this ISEA thing. Mm-hmm. So anyway, she gets this visitor. And, last week we met this mysterious Krieger. And later in the episode, this Krieger has been following her. Has been really
poorly following her for someone who's supposed to be fake dad and no one's supposed to know. I'm just saying.
What do you mean by poorly following?
I mean, he went to a museum in the middle of the day, which is a blatant place with cameras everywhere and people everywhere, and he was an astronaut who went to space and came back. How is it that he's able to maneuver through the town in the middle of the day and no one's like, hey, isn't that dude supposed to be dead? Like, It's
the stubble. It is
Yeah,
the perfect
I
disguise.
See,
Okay.
the stubble. In addition to that, I say it's his dirty Prius. You see, everyone else is driving a brand new Tesla or a BMW. Yeah, this was the first time we see it. This new BMW i3. So everyone's in this very exotic, luxury sports car, and he's just in a schlubby, beaten up Prius. You see?
Right.
I suppose. That's the one thing I was like, when he was standing there and looking at her dramatically in the museum, I was like, how is no one else seeing this?
Well, I mean,
no one.
To his defense, or I guess in his defense,
Mm-hmm.
everyone thinks he's dead. So if you see someone who you think is dead, you're just gonna be like, it just must be someone who looks like them.
I don't know, you guys. When Tupac died, for like a decade after, everyone was like, anyone who even remotely looked like Tupac, they were like, oh, that's totally Tupac. To this day, people still think Tupac and Elvis are alive.
Oh, well.
I'm just saying.
His hologram, everyone saw his hologram.
Don't talk about that hologram. It's horrifying.
So anyway, this was a major question from last week's episode that was answered. We really know who he is because last week, towards the end of the episode from last week, he told Molly, everything is not safe. You are not safe. You need to get out of here. And we're like, what? What is he talking about? What's going on here? What?
Well, that's the other thing. If it's so not safe and it's not safe for him and he faked his own death, why is he walking around in the daylight? Why is he driving up to his old job and picking up Molly in a beat-up Prius? That is more, scary. I would notice a dirty old Prius in the future driving up and picking up my star astronaut. I'm just saying. Okay, I'm done.
That's true. That is true.
Yeah.
Your point is valid. That is a valid point, absolutely.
Especially considering how much she surveyed. You would have thought he would have been caught the moment he showed up.
Come on.
So, Adrian, I'll toss it to you first. What does Molly learn when she finally meets Krieger after, he's now alive, and what happens through that?
Well, she learns, and we learn as an audience, what happened to Krieger when he was on the Seraphim the year before. And he did have a vision as well. He was growing plants, which I was like, oh, that's cute and endearing. But he saw a vision of his mother, who was really creepy. And she did have something weird with her eyes, too. I noticed it more in her, but they were just dead black. And so she approaches him, and he has the correct human reaction of, oh, no, this can't be right. You're definitely dead, and barricades her. So, smart man. She's still able to get in there because she's like a ghost alien thing. And he runs away from her. Smart, correct human reaction. And then he keeps running away from her until he lures her into like this
Into an airlock.
And disposes of her into space, like the correct human response you should have. Yes.
What'd you think on this scene, Tauri?
I thought it like I had mentioned when we were watching that it reminded me of The Shining. And then the next, like, I couldn't help but think how he must have felt in terms of having to kill his mom all over again. It like
Wait,
really bummed me out.
Do we know that he killed his
Well, no,
mom?
I mean like to see her
Having to watch
die
her die
in front
again.
of me. Yeah. Which like kind of it didn't take me out, but it like made me just real upset. Which a show should never do. It should never get you upset. Right, guys?
Ever.
Right.
Oh, it's tugging at the heart. It's
Oh, yeah.
playing with your emotions.
Yeah.
It's the emotional roller coaster.
I mean, yeah, I think he had the correct reaction, and I felt for him. That was sad, but he was a very smart man, and he did the right thing.
I agree.
Versus,
So-
versus last week, Molly really didn't do the right thing last week. She sees her former lover, and just says, "Okay, awesome, come to me, put your finger on my zipper."
I'm so disappointed that they had Halle Berry look like.
Now, yeah, what's up though with Krieger's mom? Yeah, she was in a nightgown.
She looked
Yeah.
wet. She looked like she just like maybe she drowned, and that's how she died because she looked like she
Okay.
just come out of a pool or something.
It was that was an excellent observation, though. It was very Shining-esque, like Sixth Sense, Shining, just these very Kubrick almost.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
Ooh, and even, I don't know if you ever noticed, I mean, even Ethan, I know I'm sidetracking, we'll get back on the Molly issue, but even Ethan, I feel, looks a little like one of like the girls from like The Shining.
Or the boy,
Yeah,
Red Rum.
Yeah, or the boy. Very.
Yeah.
He's very stoic, very scary. You don't know if he's gonna kill you or not.
Right.
So,
Yeah.
I mean, there's a lot of I did notice that a lot of The Shining kind of style in this episode.
Yeah.
So anyway, so we have this. We know what finally goes on with Krieger, and does anything further escalate between Molly and Krieger?
I mean, he basically tells her that his belief is that the people at ISEA are responsible for him seeing the vision. They called him schizophrenic, and that they will do the same to her. They'll basically force her into quarantine and kind of force her to be isolated so that no one will believe her. So it's interesting to see that that's his point of view, but we do learn later on that may not necessarily be the case. And so that's pretty much what you get. You get that there is someone that went through the same experience as her, but that's kind of where they leave it. So you don't really hear anything else about him in this episode.
We also, Molly wants to see the footage. She wants to see the footage because Molly deleted her own footage, by which,
No,
yeah,
we're not talking
that's,
about
yeah, we're not talking about that. But, Krieger was smart enough. He kept the footage, but for whatever reason, yeah, it's not. It was there, but Molly did not really have access to it.
Yeah, she didn't have the clearance for it, so
Yeah.
she was able to see like the side footage,
Mm-hmm.
but not the actual like full-on footage of what he saw and what he did.
Well, and as she was looking at it, she was essentially booted from the records.
Yeah.
Right. Were you happy with the Krieger Molly storyline, Tauri? Were you happy? I mean, from last week's episode, were some answers fulfilled?
It was a double-edged sword because they give you answers in terms of what happened to him, but then you have to wonder like what is this brain anomaly that they're both experiencing? Like what's the origin? Why do these aliens keep going after their stomachs? Like did Krieger come back pregnant? So I mean these are all these extra side questions. So for as many answers that we received, we got more questions on top of them.
And plus, the biggest one, which Krieger says, is maybe they were not experimenting; they were the experiments.
Dun dun dun.
And he said it just as dramatically as you did. It's kind of like, okay, CBS, just shove it in my face.
Absolutely, absolutely. So we have that one. Now, also there is another major storyline going on with Molly, is that she's pregnant.
Yes.
We see, first of all, she she has a new vision of Marcus. Not as sensual and intimate as her first one. Just, you know, kind of like a hi-bye thing. She blacks out, but we see rings, like kind of rings pop out of her stomach. Not pop out, but we see like her skin bend in these circular
And they
motions.
ripple a little bit. They're like the like the Olympic rings or something.
That doesn't, and that does not look like a baby to me. That does not look like a human to me.
Yes.
Yeah.
Not at first, but
So anyway, so what happens? How does she deal with the pregnancy in this episode, Tauri? How does she deal with all of this?
Well, at this point, she's still trying to hide it from Sparks, who's digging into what the results are, even though he pretty much knows. And so she confides in Sam, and they have to go underground in order to confirm that she's pregnant or not. Because if there's an anomaly with her brain, there might be one with her body and in her blood. So Sam takes her to this, essentially this veterinary clinic, and gives her an ultrasound. And we see a happy little baby.
Mm-hmm.
There's a heartbeat and everything. There's no robotics,
Nope.
Yeah, so it's, to me, I'm gonna assume, I know it's human to me. It's a human baby.
Well, they did bring up an interesting point when, and I know I'm jumping forward a little bit, but when Ethan and Molly were at the museum, and Ethan has the interaction with the robot, and he's talking about all the different layers of extinction and how Neanderthal became extinct by Homo sapiens being able to out-survive them, or, you know. And so the idea that even if she does have an alien, and this is me like having a really big nerd moment, but maybe it's not necessarily an alien like we think of aliens, but maybe just a more advanced version or species of Homo sapien.
Right. Like the next evolutionary level.
The next
A
evolutionary
super
level.
baby? There's a super baby growing inside of her?
Ubermensch.
Yeah. Basically. Well, it's kind of like the theory of like Superman, how Superman's, there's one theory where Superman is essentially, they are future humans, and when they travel through time, when they travel through space, they're actually traveling through time back to Earth.
So my question is,
So-
why rings? Why rings? I mean, I would think if there was a baby growing inside of her and wanted to pop out, we would see some kind of
Handprint.
a handprint
Right.
or a head, you know, because it was very Aliens-esque, you know. In some of the Aliens movies, we see in Ripley, like, how the alien is protruding through the stomach, like, but it wasn't rings, it was like the full shape of the alien.
Yeah.
Like,
I think it's more like just a symbol of that species. So I don't, that's me assuming, making assumptions, but it seemed like that was just kind of like the symbol of the alien, because you see it later again
Right.
further down, and we're going to see it again. So
absolutely. And then,
Sorry.
go ahead.
I had a theory.
Absolutely.
Because, and this is kind of referential, but this band called Coheed and Cambria has a similar mark, and it's to represent 3 different galaxies, or essentially 3 different orbits of planets. And so in my mind, it could probably be kind of like a map of where these aliens come from or where they are.
Mm-hmm.
So it's the orbital patterns of their origins.
a lot of space-time going on is what we're trying to say.
Indeed.
A lot.
Space-time.
I like it. We're going to the 12th, 13th dimension here. This is fantastic.
Time Lord. Time Lord. Time Lord.
Anyway, so Molly learns that she's pregnant, and she does not keep the secret to herself. But she does not tell John. She does not tell her husband, who would pretty much... So now Molly and Sam know, the doctor, obviously, from last week. She does not tell Ethan, even though, you know, she does not tell John, her own husband. Who does she tell?
You mean at the end? She tells Alan Sparks.
Alan Sparks.
Which was kind of just like, whoa, way to jump.
Yeah.
Just get right to the point. Was not expecting that.
Absolutely.
So.
I mean, yeah, she's confronted by Krieger. Oh, everyone's following you. They're gonna... So she just goes right to the pretty much almost the head. I mean, the head being Yasumoto, but she goes to the second in command, Sparks.
But do they know that Yasumoto... Well, I guess that he's in command of Seraphim? I thought that was kind of like a little side thing.
Yeah, I don't think they know.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't think... I mean, I just think that at least John knows that he's just Mr. Moneybucks.
Yeah.
That's it. He has the moolah.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. So a lot with Molly. Also, we have a little bonding going on with Ethan and Molly, and really, Molly's not really, and Ethan, not really, the bond's not closing. I mean, that relationship is still on thin ice, I feel.
It's difficult, you know. He hasn't had that year of bonding that, especially him being a humanic, he probably needs. I thought Future Jenga was awesome, though.
Oh, Future Jenga.
So
Future
good.
Jenga.
That was
Yes.
fantastic.
Can we bring that right now?
I feel it is possible because in this world, in this extant world, like we have, we have Priuses, and yet we have these BMW concept cars. So we have like 2014 mixed with 2016, So
Right.
why?
You think we're gonna advance that fast? I hope.
Yeah,
Can I get an
we're
Android?
We're also going to get hoverboards. We're also going to get.
Oh,
Yes.
don't tease about the hoverboards. That would make my life.
Absolutely. But I'm just saying. I mean, I think it could be possible because in this extant world, I find I'm always wondering what time era is it? You know, because we get this schlubby Prius, we get this nice looking car, yet a lot of the buildings that they show are Los Angeles buildings. It's not really a futuristic world. I mean, we see that where the Yasumoto, the ISEA and Yasumoto's lair and lab is, that's actually a charter school, this very avant-garde looking charter school off the I-10. I mean, today was the Natural History Museum. That's an LA staple. It's right by USC. I mean,
But it was an advanced natural history museum. I mean,
Oh yeah.
it was interactive.
it was,
So
I would
I give 'em
love,
props.
that was awesome. I would love, when I go to a natural history museum, the T-Rex or the elephants to come alive.
Yeah.
And,
I don't know about the T-Rex, but yeah, the elephant would be cool.
yeah, they didn't have a T-Rex. I'm just fantasizing.
Please don't do the T-Rex.
I mean, we already mentioned the Tupac hologram, so we're 2 steps towards it. All
Yeah.
they need to do is put animals in it.
Well, I think that they do kind of what everyone has to do. Even when you go back to the Future, when he goes to the future, it's in the machine. The time machine is a DeLorean. Obviously, we still don't drive DeLoreans. Obviously, they did not become the cars of the future. So I like they're kind of trying to balance the present with the future. So, you still see cars from like 1980, 1975, even to this day. Even if they're not a classic, it could be like just this crap car that people have. So.
True.
Right.
Absolutely. So are you saying that Priuses in the future are going to be the crap car?
We all know that they're going to be the crap car.
All right. All right. All right.
Sorry, Toyota.
Yeah, no, it's a great car. Anyway,
great car.
So yeah, this episode though was all about pretty much Molly. Are we all in agreement with that?
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
All right, but there was some C stories. One in particular I felt was with Yasumoto. There's still for me a lot of mystery with him. We see him first of all. We see him talk with Sparks, and then we see him, being like, and they talk about Sparks' daughter and some kind of plan, and then we see Yasumoto go into this thumbprint machine that tells him how much longer he has to live, and and they're just playing this kind of a game of chess in a way, this game of cards, this Game of Thrones in a way. I'm just saying, this chess game, and then suddenly we have this muse, if you will. I don't know if they're married or not, but we have some kind of muse, and the muse, Yasumoto's muse, is Miss Dodd, the idiot that John called from his speech, from last week's episode. What'd you think of all that?
You think she's the muse?
I think she's a muse.
Really? I just think she's flavor of the month.
Oh, yeah, right. Well, Yasumoto's Mr.
Sorry.
Moneybucks.
Yeah, he is
Just
Mr.
saying.
Moneybucks, and maybe they have something real. It doesn't seem like it, but who knows? What do you think?
I think that there's potential. I would hope that she is like his number 2, not like number 2 lady, but like his right-hand woman.
Yeah.
Because what I got from that scene is that she was essentially just trying to legitimize John's new, what is the word I'm looking for? His new position by sending her in there to make sure that he doesn't think everything's going too smoothly.
Okay.
What I didn't like, and I don't like this about, I mean, Miss Autumn, the actress who plays her, very attractive, but I'm just saying, she is wearing more revealing clothing than Halle Berry, and I'm just saying, I would rather have Halle Berry wearing what Miss Dodd is wearing and have vice versa. I'm just saying, the wardrobe.
Listen, Halle Berry is an Academy Award-winning actress. She's gone past her time of Baps, past her time of Boomerang. And if she wants to cover up, she's more than welcome to cover up.
And you've also had your
Respect.
naked scene already.
Yes, two
True.
naked
Oh,
scenes.
wait, and then also, yeah, prior to this episode starting, they showed even what's coming up, future before even this episode, and yeah, we saw another Halle Berry shower scene. So
Oh my gosh, you and Halle Berry and shower scenes. I know, she's fine, okay?
Thank you.
We already made it clear. Moving
Anyway,
on.
so yeah, so we have that. Also, John, we have a little tour of John's new facility, and yeah, there's some kind of odd chemistry with John and his assistant, if you will. You want to further maybe explain that, Adrian? What's going on there? Do you?
Oh, with Julie?
Mm-hmm.
I had a theory they got a little close while she was up in space because she's very close with Ethan, and they had some weird dialogue between her and Molly where it kind of sounded like Molly knew something might have been up, and she was kind of being nice, but it was like, I don't really like you nice. And then Julie, when Molly walked away, had this look of like jealousy and envy. And so I get the feeling that she might have either, if she hasn't done something with John, she at least has some strong feelings for John, and definitely for Ethan. I think she would love to have Ethan as her own.
I agree.
Now, what would have made that, I feel, even stronger is if you see there's this point where John wants to congratulate Molly by taking her out to this nice meal. Molly does not show up. Now, to really, I feel, what would have really exaggerated at least that would Julie. It would have been awesome for me if Julie came in Molly's place, because John was waiting, you know, have the souffle out. We didn't really see that souffle. But anyway, and I'm just saying, that would have really hit it on the head.
Because Halle Berry is fine. Let's be real.
Yeah.
You're right. She is so fine. She is so fine. But that's not the last time. I'm going to beat this with a dead horse, by the way, guys. I'm going to beat it with a dead horse. So just get used to it. That's all I have to say.
Monis really loves Halle.
Absolutely. So, yeah. So, what, there's a lot of questions, you know. They leave it, not really a big cliffhanger, though. Not really. I mean, Sparks, we know there's some, allusions that he has like this daughter out there.
Yeah, that his they called Katie's sacrifice is what Yasumoto called it.
Yeah.
So there is some type of idea or thought that maybe she was first to go out into space. Maybe it wasn't documented or something, and that whatever she discovered when she went, she died for. But now they're pursuing it even more. So I think she was the one who, because I felt like they were establishing at the end that there were aliens.
Yeah.
And that maybe she was first to have contact with them.
Gotcha. What did you think to that?
Yeah, I kind of interpreted it mostly the same way. It just made me more intrigued about like her origins, and I assume like the next episode, not to get into predictions, but the next episode maybe we'll get a little taste of that. I'm not a fan of all the behind the scenes conspiracy wheeling and dealing, just because like I guess I'm so hungry for answers, it just makes me too anxious about it. Like I can't even focus on what's going on in the show because I'm like, I want to know everything.
You know, and I like, though, and even with this show, yes, the stories are compelling, and you're right, even when there are a lot of questions and they don't have answers, this is a well-built show. And what I mean by that, the set design, like I mentioned the cars earlier, you know, I mean, props to the props people, no pun intended, but they like to do a lot with food, you know, and I mean, I love food as well now, and I love going against, futuristic versus old school. That in this episode they talked about like souffle, We didn't really see the souffle, but it was nice. It didn't have some kind of new fusion meal. It was this old school French dish. So it really was like, well, maybe even in 30 years, we're still just going to have some traditional French cooking, which is nice to me. And, you know, we see Halle Berry in the morning just making, you know, stirring up some eggs and just slicing some strawberries, which are in season right now. So I thought it was very timely.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think if nothing else, people go back to cooking more. That kind of seems like where people are on the track to.
Yeah, we don't see some gimmicky, like say in Demolition Man, oh, this is Taco Bell, and it's
It's the delicacy.
Exactly, like the food scenes and the especially, it's very real, very authentic. You know, I mean, they're living environments. Everything is very authentic, very earthy, as you once said.
Earthy.
You're right.
Yeah.
So anyway, with you did mention predictions, Tauri. So how about we get right to them?
Okay.
All right.
Did you want to talk about how
your AfterBuzz TV
it's in my ear?
predictions.
Well, let's do predictions and then we'll talk about the news for next week.
Oh, absolutely, absolutely. You're right. Predictions, Tauri. Want to start this off? What do you think? What's going to happen next episode?
Next episode. I think we're going to dive in more to the baby's existence. And man, I want to know, while we were talking, I kind of saw a interesting parallel in that, Halle Berry's this woman who's married to a man named John who has this mysterious pregnancy. So there's this whole savior messiah thing going on with her birth giving pregnancy is the word I'm looking for. But yeah, so I hope that that's explored a little bit more because I think it's a thing.
Okay.
Adrian, what about you? What's happening next episode?
Oh, well, next episode, I feel like they touched on it lightly at the very end of this episode about Yasumoto only having 100 days to live. And I was curious as to where they're going to go with that. And they also had this picture. They had him right below his picture. I think it's him dressed like a samurai. And so just to go back to that, I really would like to see that in the next episode, just more pursuing him.
You mentioned that a little bit last week as well. Absolutely. I think, how this season is edited and how CBS does it is instead of telling us what next episode is going to be, it kind of highlights the whole series, the season. For me, we saw these snippets of Molly unleashing the pregnancy news to finally John. I feel that's going to happen next week. We are going to see, because there is a tense relationship between Molly and John. It's built up. John is still miffed at, Molly totally missed that congratulatory meal. So I think we're going to...
You thought he was miffed? I thought he was actually really nice in the end, where he's like, I'm understanding, but you can come to me. He
was lurching
It's Goran Vishnik, okay? I mean, well, he's gorgeous, but it's also just he's a giant man. So.
All right. But I feel that's going to all that's going to explode and come to fruition next week. We are going to see some scenes. We have some news, actually. Speaking of next week's episode, we have an Extant star player coming, don't we, Adrian?
Yes. Hopefully next week.
Hopefully. No
he was
guarantees.
Supposed to be here this week, and
guarantees.
We apologize if you tuned in expecting him, but Sergio Harford is confirmed for next Wednesday. And
that is Marcus.
Yes, he plays Marcus.
That is the mysterious Marcus. All right, Tauri Miller, where can all of the Extant AfterBuzz and just all the fans out there find you?
You can find me on Twitter at TauriJ. That's TauriJay. You can also catch me on Sundays on the Sword Art Online panel.
What about you, Adrian Snow? Where can everyone find you?
You can find me at Miss Adrian Snow on Twitter and Instagram.
Excellent. You can find me, Monis Rose, on iTunes on the podcast Restaurant Fiction, where this week we featured the review Mos Eisley Cantina from the movie Star Wars, so please give it a listen. Anyway, my name is Monis Rose. This is Tauri Miller, Adrian Snow. Thank you for listening, watching. Keep it real, keep it fresh, and always keep it on the flip side.
From executive producers Maria Menounos, Kevin Undergaro, Phil Svitek, and the entire AfterBuzz TV staff, we would like to thank you for listening to the AfterBuzz TV network. To watch or listen to other after shows and post comments or questions, be sure to visit AfterBuzzTV.com. I'm Sir Richard Wentworth, and this has been a presentation of AfterBuzz TV.
Buzz you later.
The views expressed herein are those of the hosts only and do not necessarily reflect the views of AfterBuzz TV or its owners or principals.
Thank you for watching AfterBuzz TV on YouTube. For more of your favorite after shows and interviews, subscribe to our channel here, and be sure to share your opinion on the episode in the comment section below here. We'd love to see what you guys are buzzing about. Thanks again. Buzz you later.